I don't know if it's showing up or not. But anyway, in the essence of time, I'm going to get started because this is the lunch hour for everyone out there. I'm going to do a quick introduction. I'm Dr. Fryson, owner of multiple businesses, but the business that is bringing this to you today is Fryson Intuitive Group. And Fryson Intuitive Group is my natural health and healing center. And I'm going to do the presentation on turmeric and ginger and inflammation. It is sponsored by my tea, the turmeric and ginger spice tea, and my books, Between Worlds, and the companion journal for all of my spiritual people out there. So if you can't see me on live, this will be recorded. So if you see me on live, great. Okay, I see someone said they see me on live. Thank you, Mama. Okay. Okay, so Mama can see me on live. So what I'm gonna do now is share my screen, and when I share my screen, you'll be able to see the presentation. Okay, let's get started. Now, when I share my screen, I may not be able to see your comments on live, just so you know. This is Dr. Fryson from Dr. Fryson Spiritual Wellness Center and Fryson Intuitive Group and Stephanie Legal Documents in the Stephanie Fryson Center. I'm going to present a topic, turmeric, ginger, and inflammation, because I understand how difficult it is for people to get the inflammation under control, and the use of turmeric and ginger has become prevalent in the United States. In the future, if you have topics that you would like for me to discuss, you can contact me. My contact information will be at the end of the presentation. You can message me on social media, or you can email me using the information at the end of the slide. I appreciate your time. Let's get started. I will be presenting an overview of turmeric, ginger, and inflammation. Again, that picture there represents the turmeric and ginger tea that I provide my clients. You can get turmeric and ginger tea at other locations. I just know the quality of the herbs that I'm using. That's why mine costs a little bit more. Okay, let's start with turmeric. Turmeric, Curcumin longa, that's the name of it, is found in India and Southeast Asia. It is a family, it's in the ginger family, so the family name is Zingerbaceae. The part of turmeric that I want you to be aware of is this top picture represents the actual turmeric in the powder form. Notice the color. It's an orange color. This second picture represents the plant, the leaves of the turmeric plant. And the third picture represents the root. The root of the plant is what it's used and harvested for the rhizomes. They produce a chemical called curcumin. The curcumin is the chemical that is beneficial in reducing inflammation. So that's why the root of the plant is utilized. This is a key in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine. I know it's just now making its way to the Western world, but it's been in Ayurvedic medicine for quite a while. What are the benefits of turmeric? One of the biggest ones is anti-inflammatory, which means it reduces inflammation. Curcumin being the key ingredient that helps to reduce the inflammation. It also produces digestive enzymes. Enzymes actually break down things in your digestive tract. So they may break down like lipase. Lipase is an enzyme, it breaks down fat, right? So the enzyme might break down things so that you're able to digest them appropriately. And hopefully that would make sense to you. And we're not going to go into the complete details of that right now because we don't have much time. Turmeric is also an antioxidant. Antioxidant means that it fights cancer. Oxidants are known to cause cancer. The curcuminoids is a combination of different chemicals in the curcumin family, and together they work to make the immune system stronger, which means that the person is able to fight cancer better. Because what cancer really is an overgrowth of cells, and it normally happens in the body. It becomes a problem when they can't control it, much like inflammation. Turmeric also protects the skin, and for hundreds of years in the United States, it has been used in sunscreens. In the Western culture, it has been used for thousands of years as a benefit to the skin. Helps with the elasticity of the skin, helps protect the skin so that you don't get skin cancer. My biggest reason for using it is pain relief and reduction of inflammation, which inflammation and pain go hand in hand, except for the fact that in Eastern medicine, a turmeric tea can be used if a person has a headache or a person is experiencing menstrual cramps, and it can relieve those symptoms, possibly because it contains things like potassium in it, which really helps for those who are bleeding. So that's a topic for another time. Why do people use turmeric in the United States? Anticoagulant. So if you've ever had a blood clot, that's because your platelets clump inside of your body. That's the coagulation process. That coagulation process is normal, but sometimes it gets out of control. And when it gets out of control and the platelets start forming these clumps and sticking together and then go to your brain or go to your heart or go to your lungs, that causes a problem. Unfortunately, I've experienced that. Turmeric is an anticoagulant, which means that it thins the blood. It causes those platelets, those clumps, to be broken up. And if you add a little bit of vinegar in it, it does it remarkably well, just so you know. So it fights atherosclerosis, which is in the heart, bacterial infections, bloody urine, bruises, gallstones, gastritis. Now, the bruises, a lot of people with coagulation problems have different disorders that are like petechiae. These little purple spots are on their skin where they have clots forming underneath the skin. And so by breaking that up, you actually get rid of those bruises. And you see a lot of elderly people who have coagulation issues with those bruises. It works with irritable bowel syndrome, liver disorder, lowers the cholesterol, pain and inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, ulcers, and viral infections. It was one of the ingredients I used in my antiviral tea that was popular during the height of the COVID pandemic. I'm going to leave this here, and the references are at the end of the slide. But I just want you to know that there are studies out there in Western medicine that support evidence that turmeric has the ability to help with certain diseases, such as it helps with inflammation reduction by here inducing the production of tumor necrosis factor. Side note, tumor necrosis factor A promotes insulin resistance. So too much of it is seen in diabetics. Now, I was introduced to turmeric by way of golden milk. Prior to that, when I was in nutrition school in 2010, I was introduced to turmeric when we were studying Ayurvedic medicine. When I got my Master Herbalist certification, I learned about turmeric and ginger and those properties. In 2017, I was diagnosed with lupus. At that point, I learned about golden milk. Golden milk is a combination of turmeric, ginger, and some other things that really helps reduce inflammation. And at the time, I had a lot of blood clots, So I needed to break those clots up. I needed to reduce the inflammation, and this is something that helped me. This is a golden milk recipe that I found. This link here is Downshiftology. That's where the recipe comes from. If you want to try it, you can. So let's talk about the dangers of turmeric because I don't think it gets discussed nearly enough. One, it cannot be eaten raw. The body cannot digest and break down turmeric in its raw state. And lately, there have been people who've been consuming turmeric. They're like, oh, I just took the powder and I swallowed it with some water. And they're causing internal damage, right? We don't want to do that. You always need to have it in like a tea, in a soup, in a coffee, in your food. That's why people use it when they're cooking. You have to break it down so that the body can process it. Another problem is that there are companies who use lead chromate when they are processing turmeric. We all know lead is poisonous. That's why you can't even have it in the house anymore, right? So this is why doing the research on the company that you get your products from is important. Turmeric has a lot of potassium. Potassium is really good in combination with magnesium and sodium in helping to regulate the blood in the essence of your blood pressure. And potassium is definitely needed. It is one of the key electrolytes in the body. It's part of so many cycles. It's part of that coagulation cycle. Without it, those cycles don't work appropriately. The problem is a dialysis patient whose kidneys are not functioning has a problem with potassium. High potassium levels in dialysis patients leads to heart attack, right? Leads to death. So you don't want a dialysis patient to really be taking a lot of turmeric. Everything in moderation. And high doses can lead to stomach ulcers. Part of that is because of the processing of the turmeric itself and how people are taking it, and it's just not good to have a large quantity of it all the time. For my clients, I tell, depending on what's going on, but most of them I tell take 1 cup a day. And if they're doing it with my weight loss tea, they take 2 cups of the weight loss tea, 1 cup of the turmeric tea, and that's 3 cups of tea each day. In the beginning, if a person is really having a problem with clotting and things, I then I have them take 2 cups a day. If they're in the midst of a viral infection, they do 3 cups a day. It just depends on what's going on with the person. Some people have allergic skin reaction, and people can be allergic to a lot of things, so this is can be very common. You can be allergic to the turmeric, so you can be allergic to some of the sunscreens that are out there. If you're allergic to a sunscreen, I would have you check the ingredients, see if turmeric is one of the ingredients, and that would let you know that perhaps you should not be having the turmeric tea or turmeric in any other form. If you're not just allergic to a sunscreen, there's other types of what is it, mascara and things of that nature. Makeup. I don't wear makeup, so there's makeup that might have some of these turmeric in this somewhere in it. If you're allergic to something like that, check the ingredients, and then if that's turmeric's one of the ingredients, don't take turmeric. Also, in general, do not use if you're already on blood thinners because turmeric is going to thin your blood any further, and that's going to put you in a situation where you could bleed excessively, right? You don't want that. If you're on drugs that suppress your immune system, which means make your immune system stop working, don't take turmeric, which also works on your immune system. That means that these drugs are not going to be as effective. If you're taking a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, it's called an NSAID, like Advil, don't take turmeric. It interferes. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, don't take turmeric. It has been known to cause a miscarriage. I don't exactly know what causes the miscarriage, but let's err on the side of safety. That's why you see my packages saying do not use if you're pregnant. If you have a bleeding disorder, bile duct disorder, or currently have a stomach ulcer, you don't want to add something that can interfere. And turmeric can interfere with those. It's not to say it's going to, but contrary to popular belief that herbs don't cause other issues, they do. You need to know about it. That's why I'm making these presentations. Let's get to ginger, one of my favorite things. Ooh, and ginger root is so good. It's found in Asia, but it's grown everywhere. It's used as a spice in the U.S., and now India is the main producer of it. Again, it's used in Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese medicine, has been for thousands of years. Benefits of ginger. This is actually what the ginger root looks like cut up. Notice how it's similar in texture to the turmeric root. Remember, they're in the same family. And that's a nice little cinnamon stick because I use cinnamon and lemon in everything. Ginger's anti-inflammatory, check. Helps you with digestion, check. Helps with weight loss, huge factor, right? If you combine turmeric with some lemon, woo, and the tea and make it add a little bit of that apple cider vinegar, really helps with weight loss. One, because it helps with the digestion, so you can get rid of stuff that you're backed up on. And it increases the HDL cholesterol, which is your good cholesterol. So you have turmeric helping to lower cholesterol in general, and you have the ginger increasing the good cholesterol, definitely beneficial for your body. Lowers the fat. The triglycerides are fats, so it lowers the fats in your body, in your blood. And relieves respiratory congestion. So if you're sick, you can also boil some ginger and put your head over the water, not like too close, but let that steam get up into your nostrils, and it would just help to clear up things. Of course, you can have it in a tea, which is the way I take everything, but there's other things you can do. And I say the boiling the water because if you have a baby, you could boil the water and just have that hotness, that steam coming up so that the baby can still get it and ingest it. Why do people use ginger? Arthritis, antioxidant, so fight cancer, bacteria infections, and motion sickness. In Chinese medicine, it has been used for motion sickness for thousands of years, and is even included in some over-the-counter medications that are for motion sickness. Muscle pain, muscle swelling, nausea, and to treat parasites. Now, again, the muscle pain is because pain is associated with inflammation. When you reduce inflammation, you normally reduce pain. Ginger is known to stimulate the heart and blood vessels. It is a stimulant, and one day I'll have a conversation about the different types of herbs. So it moves the heart and the blood vessel, which is really good for circulation, and it's really good to help pump blood. And it's also used to treat tumors. Again, side note, tumors are a normal reaction of the body. The problem becomes when they grow too far, too much. Can't be controlled, can't be eliminated by the body. Do not use ginger if you're taking warfarin, so that's a blood thinner, anticoagulant. If you're taking cardiovascular heart drugs, because it's going to interfere with those drugs. Don't use if you're pregnant. Dangers of ginger: may cause heartburn, may aggravate your gallstones. So if you currently have gallstones and you're wondering what is causing the problem, yet you cook every day with ginger, maybe the ginger is not so good for you. They may slow your nervous system, meaning you can be drowsy. And this is going to be a case by case basis because some people, such as myself, who don't take other medications, when they have things like this, you feel the effects of being sleepy more than someone else who takes all kinds of medication. They're like, I didn't get sleepy at all. You have to know your body. Overuse of ginger can cause irregular heartbeat. And this is in large quantities. This isn't like just a little bit of ginger here and there, but there are people who go too far with everything because they see, oh, ginger's going to help me lose weight. And next thing you know, they get a whole ginger root and they're just eating it every day. That's not good. If you guys don't take anything else from this presentation, know this: inflammation is normal. This is the body's protective mechanism. It responds to things that are harmful to the body. Stress is harmful to the body. Damage to your cells is harmful to the body. Injury to tissues. So you get a cut, you have a virus, you have a bacteria. Someone goes out and lifts weights too much and they damage a part of their muscle. You feel inflammation, you feel the things, the side effects, because your body is trying to repair whatever is damaged. So inflammation in general is good. The absolute purpose of inflammation is to eliminate the threat to the body. Okay? That's the biggest thing. And then to repair the body. The goal in everything that we do at Fryson Intuitive Group is not to completely turn off the body's inflammatory response. What we want to do is to control it so that we can get to the root of what's causing the inflammation. While we're getting to the root of what's causing the inflammation, we want to reduce the damage that is taking place from the inflammation. This is the biggest thing I want you guys to know. Taking too much of anything is harmful. It can damage the immune system as well as your natural inflammatory response. So when you're like, oh, this pain is too much, I need to eliminate it, and I'm going to go take all of this stuff, eventually that causes problems for your body. Sometimes in the form of liver damage, sometimes in the form of kidney damage. So our goal is not to have you be dependent on any herb or any medication for the duration of your life. The goal is to figure out what is causing the problem, eliminate what causes the problem, and go from there. When you have an inflammatory response, you're going to have some things happen. You're going to have the area wherever the inflammation is occurring is going to get hot, right? That's because it's sending things to that area. Then you're going to have pain in that area. It's going to hurt. When you have inflammation, it hurts. Normally, you're going to have redness, indicating the area is actually inflamed. Think of fire. Most of the time you have swelling. So you hit your finger and it's red, it hurts, and it swells, right? Because all these things are going to that area to try to mitigate the damage that has been done by you hitting your finger. The problem that becomes an issue is you normally have loss of function. Loss of function is okay for a moment. You can't bend your finger while your body's trying to repair it, and you can't bend it because it's swollen with everything there. But once it goes down, that swelling goes down, then you can bend that finger again. The part of inflammation that becomes a problem is when it has too much inflammation and it's there for a long time, it can start damage to organ. So organs can't function when they've been inflamed for so long, right? So your kidneys have 100% function at one point. Now they have 50%. Then they have 25%. Then they have 10%. At some point, you're on dialysis because they are not able to function. There are two main types of inflammation, acute and chronic. Acute is the short term. You hit your finger, something needs to happen. The chronic is long term, such as when you have lupus or diabetes or some other disorder where your body's attacking different organs. The acute is the first response. It involves moving of healing cells. So there's cells that go to that part to help you heal. The chronic involves destruction of certain cells and reduce function of organs. You don't really ever want to be in a situation where you're destroying cells unless those cells are no longer beneficial to the body. In chronic inflammation, destruction of good cells takes place. Some of you won't need this, but for those of you in the science world, the cells involved in acute inflammation are the neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, mononuclear cells. These are all white blood cells. In parentheses is normally what they deal with. Neutrophils are the main white blood cells. Basophils are in response to inflammation. Eosinophils are in response to helminth worms and parasites. So mononuclear cells like monocytes and macrophages they really like turn on the immune system. That's a short way of putting it. These are not all the cells because lymphocytes are part of it. The five main cells in the white blood cell system, the lymphocytes is the other one. Cells involved in chronic inflammation, mononuclear cells, you see the monocytes again, the macrophages again, and there's the lymphocytes and plasma cells. Lymphocytes and plasma cells are really important in helping you fight off viral infections, and definitely they are primary factors in your immune system. Fibroblasts, which help with healing of your skin, healing of the wound, like closing it up. So these things can be there, and you could end up having like uh, people have discoid lupus where the skin is involved and it's all thick and keloid over. People can have an increase in viruses because they have an autoimmune disorder such as lupus, and their lymphocytes are not strong in numbers, and so they can't fight off the viruses. So a lot of different things can happen when you have chronic inflammation, where these cells are involved in the inflammatory process. They cannot do their other functions. Signs of chronic inflammation: body pain, arthralgia, myalgia, which the end of it is pain in your joints and your heart, chronic fatigue and insomnia, depression, anxiety, and mood disorders. Now, I want to stop on this because there are many people who have problems with inflammation who have been diagnosed with mental disorders. And the reality is that because of how they feel, they are depressed, they are anxious because of what's going on in their body. And oftentimes, when you eliminate that physical pain, the mental portion of their body actually gets well. The other one is gastrointestinal issues like constipation, diarrhea, acid reflux. I want you to also understand that constipation and diarrhea are two sides of the same coin. That's your bowel's ability to either move things through or not. And your body's responding, saying, hey, there's too much in here that I don't really want to deal with. I'm going to dump it out. That's diarrhea. The body also responds saying, wait, I don't have enough fluids. I don't have enough of the enzymes. I don't have enough of everything that I need. I'm not going to eliminate anything. That's constipation. Weight loss or weight gain, meaning a lot. All of a sudden, you just dropped 40 pounds and you weren't trying. You might have some inflammation going on. All of a sudden, you gained 40 pounds and you weren't trying. You might have some inflammation going on. But with the chemical changes that are going on in your body, your hormones may not be balanced, and that definitely impacts your weight. Frequent infections. You saw that I listed the white blood cells involved in your body. They actually help you with infections. So the neutrophils help with bacterial infections. Lymphocytes help with viral infections. If you find yourself constantly getting sick, you may have a weakened immune system, and the immune system may be weakened due to chronic inflammation. So you could have an autoimmune disorder, you could have diabetes, you could have some disorder, right? Inflammation is prevalent in a lot of disorders. I wanted to tell you guys itis. ITIS means inflammation. That means too much. So when you see itis, that's the suffix that indicates something is inflamed. If you see one of these terms, appendicitis, dermatitis, nephritis, vasculitis, that means the particular organ is inflamed. Hepatitis is the liver inflamed. Okay? And this will help you recognize what's going on. And this is for my people out there who go to your doctors and you don't know exactly what they are seeing when they tell you something. When you hear itis, just think, oh, something's inflamed, something's in trouble. And that, my friends, is the end of the presentation. We made it in under 30 minutes. Yay! You guys can contact me by emailing me, drfryson at tsfcenter.com. You can also visit me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. YouTube is Fryson Intuitive Group, so it's FIG LLC. You can join me there. If you have questions, you can send them to me. You have things you want me to speak on later, you can send that to me. Here are references for today's presentation. I thank you so much for your time. I look forward to interacting with you at a later date and time. Be well.